Why is everybody else here is kind of my question.
G-Central.
G-Central, perfect.
Don't know what GPM is all about.
Okay,
One word more.
okay, cool. Where did you hear about it? Just people talking about this CLA Summit? Did you see one of the like 2 posts that I made online all year about it? Okay, cool. Sorry, I just wanted to see. So what is it? It's a new package manager. I could put the XKCD comment that I've seen already 3 times today about what we need another thing. But main deal is it installs packages locally. And what I mean by locally is if your project file is here, the package contents go right here. This is easily compared to Vipm, which everybody I'm sure is familiar with, that when you hit install on the package, it installs it in the LabVIEW 2017 directory or 18 directory or whatever. The reason that that's bad is it's really easy to upgrade a package because you need it for one project, and then all of a sudden you accidentally upgraded the package for another completely unrelated project. It's also annoying because if I install a package on my computer and I use it in my project, I check in my code, my coworker pulls my code and he opens it up and it's broken because he didn't know that I installed this package. So step 1 of the things that it does differently is installs things locally. 2 is it keeps a metadata file right next to that install directory that writes down all of the packages that directory needs. So that means that when you hit the install button, it writes it down, and you can check that, or you should check that file into source code control. So that means that you can just, whenever you want, hit delete on the folder that contains those that package contents, and really trivially with a command or through the UI, you can recreate the environment that you need to run your project. So yes, easily restore. And then the other thing on top of that is a little bit of a different situation, but there's a centralized package repo that anybody can post to, and or publish to, and the Gpm tool contains the commands or the UI buttons that you need to just hit publish, and it shows up and everybody gets it. So if anybody here has dealt with the headache that is getting something posted on the LabVIEW Tools network, at MGI on a new thing, it took us on the order of 40 hours to go from the time that our code was done to the time that the amount of work for it to actually show up on the tools network was 40 hours. With Gpm, all you do is create an account on the website and then log in with that account and run the publish command. And literally as soon as the publish command is there, your package is up, ready for everybody in the world to download. Okay, so the other thing that we've been hearing a lot about is NI Package Manager. So NI Package Manager is obviously the NI thing. It's based on the Linux packages model, and it's maintained by NI. And the line that I'm drawing between the two is NIPM is for application runtime code. GPM is for reuse libraries and source code. That said, fundamentally, they both just copy files around. So you can put whatever runtime code and VIs and whatever in whichever. But mine is optimized for this, theirs is optimized for that. And honestly, in my mind, it's unfortunate that they're both called package managers because they're kind of different things, but at the same time, they're both appropriately named package managers. It's somewhat of an overload of the term. All right. So how to use GPM? So let's go to gpackage.io. So this is the, oh, you can't see what's there, sorry. This is the landing page homepage here. It gives you a little bit of info. For now, this is you can run the one-line command from an elevated terminal, and it will install. That's interactive. This essentially it's an NIPM package. So I like NIPM for runtime code. So I'm distributing GPM as an NIPM package. This is the instruction, and if you want the full-on instructions, so because you don't trust running commands that you found on the internet, which I fully support, if you click here, it will run through how to install everything. This install process is a little pokier than I would like because of NIPM. It'll get better though. All right, so we've installed it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find a package. So for our hypothetical situation here, we need to do, we're saying SHA or SHA-1 hash. So I'll search for hash. Oh my God, there's one here. So I click on that and let's read about it. So we see that it supports this, that, and whatever. We see on the right side here, it's published by Derek MGI. Here's a pretty cool dude. We can look at the license changelog. We can get to the public repo where the code is hosted. This is helpful if you needed to make a change to it and you want to push it up. And so we're pretty stoked about this. So I'm going to click this copy button. So it copies this command right here to the clipboard. Now we're gonna, let me just reset this guy. I'll do it like this. Where's that open? All right, we'll create a new one, sorry. New folder, test. Oh, too many tests, test.
Test.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show you the command line way first. CMD, CD. So I moved my working directory to that folder. Let me just recopy that command, and then I'll paste this here. So very simple, GPM space install space package name. So what this is doing is it's downloading from the server, and we'll see it. Oh, it threw the error. Oh, yeah. But this actually throws a good error. As of a couple days ago, this threw a much more cryptic error. So this folder has nothing in it, so it's a little bit confused and it doesn't want to make too many assumptions. So I need to initialize it first. So GPM init. Go. So now it's going to ask me a couple questions. So we'll do test S for the package name, LabVIEW version 2019. Private, we'll do true. And now I can call Gpm install and it will work successfully.
Can you search for packages in the family?
You cannot. If you want that, search, you talk to me. No, you search online, man.
But use the links.
This is not our.
It's open source. So
They don't even know how to read. They just see pictures.
Is there a list of packages on the website, or can you only search?
Okay, so the problem with the list of packages is that's not scalable. So one of the big things is how do you browse packages? And I haven't figured out a super great
So
solution
for now, you
for
can
that.
go to G-Central and use the proof of
For now, you
concept.
can go to G-Central and you can view it. Yeah, I know. I didn't sit there saying things. But here's the thing is, I think it's very rare that you're like, let's just see what's out there. And usually you have an idea of what's going on. G packages in the metadata have keywords. I do a full text search based on the name and the description and all this kind of stuff. So it's literally, as long as you have at least three letters worth of a thing that sort of is related to something that you want to, that you're trying to do, come type it in the search bar and that's where you start. Browsing is like I said, it's not perfect. It definitely needs work. The closest thing I have right now is this popular tab and the new tab on this front page. And so that obviously popular goes by download count, new goes by time posted. And that is the closest thing to a browse that I have for now.
You can't like just expand that list to like.
I can.
That's good the way it is.
Well, like popular, like
Thanks.
there is in order. Popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's push it back.
A lot of CS in there.
I have stuff in there too, but they kicked me off the new list already.
I'll just keep re-uploading the package.
Yeah, no, so the thing with browse, so the other question that people have related to this is like, I want a rating system, this, that, whatever. And I don't want something that takes a lot of moderation or takes a lot of user interaction. I want it all algorithm based, right? So like I said, popular is based on download count. So every time you install, I increment that by 1, and that's really easy for a computer to do, and nobody can hack that except for me. Yeah, so Compose System wins here because their CI server is running like all the time, and it's downloading stuff, a lot. I have my CI set up differently so it doesn't do that, but I'm going to change it. All right. No deficiency. Moral of the story. Come type in the search, and hopefully that will be awesome. Oh, that won't work. All right. What I was saying. So our command over here we executed install hash. Now when we go and we look in the package folder, we've got, come on. Man, when I'm on battery, sometimes it's, yeah. Sorry, my computer's freezing real quickly. All the files are in here. Let me open up 2019 real quick. Sorry, you're gonna have to deal with the shenanigans. I think if I plug it in, it stops.
Another question.
Yeah,
It's linked to that central repository.
it's linked to
Is that hard linked, or can I add a new like, private?
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
The answer is yes and no.
Okay.
That's 2019 error recorder. All right, so I'll do create project. I will go to this folder. Control-C. All right, so then the last command that we need to do if we're doing the command line way is import. And so what that's going to do is it's going to find the project files in that directory, and then it's going to drag and do some relinking and stuff so that I can access those VIs from this project. All right, so we've got, we'll let this save file go here, we've got them there. All right, so like I said, you guys are LabVIEW people who can barely read, right? So if we want to add something else to, or if we want to add a package to this, there's a UI that essentially gets you all the same functionality. If you hadn't initialized this directory, it would pop up a dialog and ask you to initialize it. So we see we're depending on MGI hash. This is the same README and all that kind of stuff that we had from before. And if we want to add Json Parsing, we'll go ahead and install this package from here. And it's essentially going to do the same thing. It's going to go download it. It's going to do this. And when you're doing it from the UI, it automatically runs that import command for you. The CLI is definitely designed with the continuous integration use case as the main use case. So stuff like import and that and whatever, those are all separated so that it's super CI compatible. Michael?
Can you elaborate on what exactly import does?
So import, when you do an install, the files are essentially downloaded from the internet and put on your file system. Import takes the files that are on your file system and puts them into a LabVIEW project. Along with that, there's a relinking step that needs to happen, and that's when that relinking step happens. Gpm also has a command that's relink, which will just do the relink step on its own. It has a command called recompile, which just recompiles your entire project because sometimes things get a little iffy. And honestly, the linking stuff is a headache. It makes Stephen Mercer cry a little bit, I think, when I tell him what I'm doing. And it definitely needs some work. And I'm working on it, man.
You give the.
If you want to help, honestly, if you want to help, right, open source, let's talk about it. The Compose System guys are the one who gave me the relink and the recompile command because they had figured that stuff out.
Do you give the import command the project file?
You have a working directory, and it assumes that any project file on the working directory. And if that's not right, you can type import space project file path, and that will specify a project file that lives somewhere else. So there's documentation for that on the wiki here. Let's see, import. Make sure that. Ooh, it doesn't have that specified, but that is how it works.
So if you have multiple projects, it would add it to all of them.
I believe so.
Otherwise, you just specify which one you want to get to. In any case, if you just wanted to go to one, then you can specify a specific one.
Yes. The use case that happens mostly is your project file, or for me at least, is your project file isn't in the root. So if you had multiple projects that all use the same list of GPM packages because they're all related things, this, that, whatever, so you would need the import command to say it's in this subdirectory, blah, 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 and that makes the import happen. All right. What else is on the list? All right, GPM init, find packages. Yeah, we do the searching. The searching, I did it a little quickly. The searching that you're using on the website is exactly the same searching that you have going on here. Then the other thing that you can do is when you make code that you want to publish to the world, you can use the publisher. So the way all this metadata is stored, let's go over here. As I was doing GPM init, as I was doing Gpm install, what's happening is there's this gpackage.json. It's just a plain old text file that lives on or that's being created and modified on your file system. So I have some of my settings set up in a way that it it defaults the author of the package to More Good Ideas. The contributors, it puts me there on the list. And then as I type install, it's adding items to this dependencies list. And then essentially when you do an install, I modify the text file and then I run that text file through the thing that does all the dependency resolution. And we go through and we find all that stuff. I don't know if you've heard me whining in all the presentations about semantic versioning. It uses semantic versioning. Part of the semantic versioning spec is these version range specifiers. So this caret is essentially saying everything, in this case, from 0.1.1 and up to but not equal to 0.2. Whatever, or 0.2.0, sorry. There's a whole list of semantic versioning things, range specifiers. You can type in greater than or equal to this, and this version and whatever and all this kind of stuff. You have all these complicated rules. Spoiler, if you want the semantic versioning parsing code because you're using it for something else, there's a package on GPM that does all that stuff for you. GPM is built using GPM. Same thing, metadata for the licenses, metadata for the LabVIEW version. Spoiler alert, LabVIEW version is a semantic version. It uses the exact same, or uses all the same syntax rules as the other semantic versioning stuff, whatever. There's your private data, or there's your package metadata. If you're gonna publish it, you may wanna tweak some of that stuff, and instead of going and editing the JSON file, which you 100% could do, here's the UI that lets you do that. You can edit your, your author, your URLs, all that kind of stuff. You can put in your keywords that I'm going to use in the search. You can specify OSs that you want to allow. This private checkbox, just FYI, if you have the private checkbox checked and you hit the publish, it will throw an error so that you don't accidentally publish, code that might be sensitive. So you'll have to uncheck that checkbox. If you tried that, it should throw an error. Let's see if it actually throws an error. It'll throw an error that says it's marked as private. I'm not going to take this. Yeah, this package is marked as private. Boom. That's new too from a couple days ago. All right. I don't know if you've also heard me whining about Markdown stuff. If you haven't used Markdown, it's sweet. So all of your Git repos. I'm not going to show that one because that's a really bad example. Let's look at CS and see how good their example. So if I go to their Bitbucket repo, Bitbucket, GitHub, GitLab, they all support this idea that on the root you have Markdown or readme.markdown, and that readme.markdown they render. So Markdown is just regular text with some extra little characters in it here and there. They render that into HTML. So I take that exact same Markdown file and I render that into your product landing page here. And that's the same one that I use in the GPM application. So when you're publishing things, you'll want to do your Markdown here. And so I have my sweet little Markdown editor, title, and we'll say this. I think this is italic. Anyways, so Markdown you can just test 2. So it's this really quick syntax. I don't know if I'm just, but it's this really quick syntax. Google it. There's a million things out there that kind of teach you the syntax, but it lets you really quickly crank out these pretty good looking HTML pages. So that's what I use to display for all of your packages. So you would go in, if you're going to publish, right? You're going to go in, you're going to create, this is my change log. Over here, I'll do my README. This is also marked, or README is obviously marked down. Change log also gets marked down. License can, I believe, also be marked down. I don't know how many of you guys have looked into the open source licensing game, but it's a somewhat confusing but very important situation that you definitely need to think about. If you just publish your code with no license, it is unlicensed code and therefore copyrighted and therefore nobody can actually use it. So you need to pick a license. You should probably pick one of the common ones like BSC, MIT, there's like Apache, and you can look up on license TLDR, and it will give you the cliff notes for what the different licenses mean. And same thing, if you're using a package and it has a license that's something, and they're all written in kind of lawyer speaky, that's a little bit confusing. So if somebody was using a GNU license, you can say, all right, let's see what LGPL3 is. And license TLDR gives you a pretty good description of what that is. So when you are picking that, you're gonna, you can do whatever you want, but I have this, because it's important, I have this extra tool that helps you. So if we want an MIT license, MIT, we'll go ahead and import an MIT license. I'll just change the couple of fields that I need to change, or that it has tagged MGI. I'll go ahead and import that. And now if I look on my file system, there is, when I hit the save button, save, it creates this license text file, which I'll obviously check in and be good to go. All right, we've got our thing. We'll say this is a test. Go ahead and save. All right, we're ready to publish. So let me just, we'll just go right here and we'll search for what shows up for test. So it's a lot of CS stuff. CS stuff is all garbage. No. So let's, we'll hit the publish button. So Oh, it's marked as private. I already tried that once, huh? So I'll mark it as private, save. Now I hit publish. Publish is complete. Okay, the only other thing that I'm a little bit glossing over is I have a user account, I'm logged in. Now when I hit refresh there, test, this is a test. That's my README file, that's my change log, that's my license. All of my stuff is there. And same deal, if I, we'll go up one, we'll go test, and we'll just do a quick little CD Control V and then GPM init. This is taking longer than I thought it was going to take. Now I'll do an install. I'm just proving that it's ready to go. Everybody can use it. GPM install. All right. So what I just ran through in a minute there is taking a pile of code, pushing it to the website, and then random do it across the world or across the cube or on my computer, just install from the centralized repo.
How does the
You did
install?
install the package.
Yeah, you
GPM install, install test est.
That'd be pretty cool.
Read your mind.
And just read your mind, maybe version, maybe on the full release version. So, so what we got here,
Plug in, insert USB.
yeah. What we got here is hash and JSON because test depended on hash and JSON, and we got the test file. So we've got all of our dependencies, we've got all of our things, we've got all of our files. So big takeaway there is it's really pretty trivial to publish to the centralized repo. Like,
just to be clear, you have a dependency tree, pick the top one, then it'll automatically get all the G packages.
Yeah, why don't you try installing like the NBA framework?
GPM install, what's it at CS, what's it called?
NBA-framework.
NBA-framework.
Just don't do it anymore.
I'm not gonna do that. So this is gonna pull in a huge pile of dependencies, is why you can do this. But that answer your question? And yeah, and the way that I know how to do that is because as you're doing installs, I'm getting the gpackage.json file, or I'm updating the gpackage.json file. When you do the publish, I send that gpackage.json file along with your package. And when somebody downloads it, I download the ones that they specified, and then I look at their gpackage.json and say, what else do you need? And I just go through layer by layer, grabbing all the dependencies. Real quick right here.
That private checkbox, how does that populate? Is it just always populated to private, or how does it know?
I don't know if you saw when I typed GPM init, the last question that asked is public or private, true, false. And so that's how you would do it. Like I said, that private thing is just kind of there so you don't accidentally publish something that you don't want to publish. Brian?
Maybe you talked about this, but on the dependencies, is it a specific version or a specific version of newer? How much way can you specify that?
So, semver.org, I'm guessing, this isn't right. Okay, so everything is semantic version. And if we scroll down here, where do we talk? So this sort of stuff is essentially defining how the semantic versioning range specifiers work. And by default, you get the caret operator, which essentially is saying, give me all the non-breaking changes for free. If it's a breaking change, so if we go from version 1 to version 2, when you do update, you won't get version 2. Because version 2, by the semver spec, has breaking changes. So you would have to go in and manually click the update button, and then it would update to version 2. You have your breaking changes because you were expecting that. You go in your code, you fix your breaking changes, you save, and now you republish your package to use the latest of your dependency, or you rebuild your application or whatever. You do whatever you need to do for your case.
So the private flag is just for your project?
Private file is just for your, yeah.
The private tag, I guess, or with that switch.
It makes it so it doesn't publish, but it's still allowing you
It's
to download.
Yeah. So there are
Download other stuff.
there are somewhat two use cases, right? But it's almost 100% overlap, right? And the two use cases are, I'm a package developer, I'm gonna publish this thing. And the other use case is, I have an application that I wanna use packages on. And so that, other than that private checkbox, those two are basically are the same situation, I guess. Last thing here I'm gonna do is, I don't actually want test S up there. So I'm gonna cd dot dot, and I'm gonna cd test S. And I'm gonna GPM unpublish. And so this is gonna delete it. You can only delete things in the first 36 hours of publishing. And that is to protect against the case where, let's say I published a package, let's say Ethan and the Compose System guys wrote a package that depended on my package, and a month later I delete my package, and now I've just broken all the stuff that they had. So you can deprecate packages whenever you want, so they'll no longer show up in searches and all this kind of stuff, but they're still downloadable. But you can only delete stuff in the first 36 hours, essentially for the case of, oops, I have a typo in the README.
So how do you control the deprecation? Like, how do you deprecate?
You type GPM space deprecate from the working directory. The other thing that you can do,
And is that on a
Give me a
version
week.
by version basis?
what's that?
Deprecation? That's on a version by version basis, right?
It can be all of the things.
It can be all.
You can deprecate the entire package, you can deprecate a version, you can do all of the,
Okay. I will not deprecate the whole thing, which is version.
well, if you type GPM deprecate, it's only gonna do the version. If you type GPM deprecate and then there's a switch that I don't remember that might or might not be documented appropriately in the wiki.
I might need a GPM undeprecated soon.
I believe that exists already. The API or the server supports that command already, and if I've given you the button in any way is the only question there. So you would be able to come in here, my packages, MGI console. Ooh, that's of course, man. Yeah, all right, I don't want to play a game. This still needs some work. You'll be able to do that from this web admin tool to do deprecate, delete, undeprecate, all of those sorts of tests. If anybody here knows Angular JavaScript stuff, and you want to help out, I poke my way through it, but I'm definitely not good at it. Okay, Michael.
Sorry. Is there a way to, I think someone else asked the question, how about the private repos?
Okay,
Local resource.
do we want to talk about that now, or
I have one more question
yeah?
for that. So I have there's a new project that my coworker's working on in source code. I want to clone the project. Would they add those package sources
Okay.
to their source code control?
All right, so here's, there are a couple ways to do it. One, you should definitely be checking in the gpackage.json file. 100% check that in. And that is going to have the links so that you can always reconstruct it all you want. In the future, there will be some stuff that changes this, but for now, then your options are, I can check in the GPM packages folder, so everything always ends up in GPM packages folder here. You can check that into source code control, and that's what I personally do right now for all of my applications. And what that essentially means is, I'm going to type the GPM commands and get all the files, and then push that to source code control. And everybody else who uses it doesn't actually have to do any GPMing. They just pull and open up the project, and they think that this is great. You don't have to do that. You technically could not check in that or ignore that GPM packages folder, check in everything, and your coworker, when they boot up, or they would do a pull, and then they would do a Gpm install command, and that would then recreate that whole situation. They're gonna also probably have to do a relink command on top of that, but that might be changing shortly here. And then they would be good to go. The problem with doing it that way, that's the workflow that I use for my GPM packages. So if you go look at this repo right here, there is no GPM packages folder. So a package that depends on other packages, that's not what I'm doing, or I don't check in the GPM packages. For an application, when I have like a customer and I care about things like regression testing and blah, 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 I check in the package contents. In the future, there's gonna be another file that is a package locked file that writes down the exact version that was installed, and then you would type in Gpm Install, and I would reference the package lock file if I can, get the exact version, blah, blah, blah. So that makes sure that all of me and my coworkers are all on the exact same version, and we don't accidentally build with version 1.1.1 and 1.1.2 and that sort of situation. Same thing with like CI. Your CI server wants, or you kind of need a way to control its package versions and all this kind of stuff. And that package lock file will make that really nice. For now, applications, I check in G packages. Packages, I do not check in G packages. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Ethan.
We use both workflows on a couple different projects, and a strong preference is not merged.
Yes.
And Derek already did a pretty good job of explaining the differences.
Okay, so the title of this presentation is What's New in GPM. So here are the things that happened last year. Like I already talked about a little bit, the relink and the recompile commands, they're both just kind of handy things. Those were developed by Steve Ball sitting in the back there at Compose Systems. He did merge requests, we did the open source thing, it worked great. If there's things in GPM that you want to help with, or you want to, or you've got ideas, you want to fix the stupid, we can do it. GPM unpublished is new, GPM deprecate is new. All right, other things.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not let the unpublished be until somebody else pulls stuff down?
Sorry, what?
Why just 36 hours, and why not, if nobody's pulled from it, why can't you unpublish?
That's true, I do know. I'll think about it.
I mean, if nobody's pulled it, then there's nobody using it, which.
Go ahead and submit it as an issue.
Well, the only thing is, once everybody uses this, which obviously everybody's going to use this, as soon as you publish it, it will instantly be downloaded. So I mean, that'll never happen.
Okay.
No, but in all honesty, I never thought about it. Okay, new for this year, dev dependencies. So everything we've talked about so far is just a regular old dependency. A dev dependency is when you're working on it exactly the same as a regular dependency. When you type Gpm install, you get everything in your dependencies and everything in your dev dependencies. The difference is when you do a Gpm publish and then somebody depends on your package. So once you're kind of at the second layer of dependencies, so other consumer depends on a package here, and the package you publish is here, it's got a dev dependency. When they do a pull on the dev depend, or when they do a pull on that, when they do an install on that, they won't get the dev dependencies. The use case that is really great for is a unit testing suite, which doesn't currently, there's not really a great GPM unit testing suite. If you want to write that, great, come talk to me, come talk to the CS guys, we really want you to do that. But you want someone who's using your package to just be able to use your package. But when you're developing on that package, you want some additional tooling in the GPM workflow to help you with your development. So you would add the unit test suite to your dev dependencies, and you, when you're developing on it, have access to all those suite tools. And then when you publish, when you publish and someone else installs it, they're not getting the random unit test framework that you decided on. I'm also using this in the monitored actor situation. So essentially, it's a nice way to like override or change what the monitored actor window is, if any of you guys are familiar with that. All right, now to answer your guys' questions, how do I host secret code using the GPM tooling? Okay, you can do it, right now the only way is to do a file system based registry. So what you do is you're going to type the command gpm config set test and all right, reg. I'm doing this from memory, but this is written down. I should have. Do I have this set up? Sorry. There's a command that you write down. All right. Here we go. In the wiki. Oh, this is not the right wiki. Sorry. GPM. In the wiki, there is a thing here that says how to do file system based repos. So you do GPM config set, you do a scope. So I don't know if you saw all the packages that we've been looking at, or most of the packages we've been looking at so far were at NGI and they're at CS. That at slash is called the scope. And then package name. So you do you type in the scope, so you type at CS, registry, space, keyword folder, // and then the path to that registry. What that essentially is telling the GPM system is anytime you see a package who is in the scope at NGI-internal, instead of going to the public registry, go to this other registry. And this other registry is going to be a folder on the file system. Okay, so let me do it for real since we actually, it's a little bit complicated, I'm not going to lie. All right, so I'm going to paste. Then we're going to do just // C/ we're going to say registry test. And we're going to do the scope is going to be at internal test. Okay, this is going to go and set a config file. There are a couple different config files in a couple different places, so you can set this up as a system-wide configuration, a user-wide configuration, or a project-specific configuration. The command I just ran set it at the user level. Now, I'm going to make a quick change to Explorer.exe. I need to do what I wanted. Sorry. Let's go to test. All right, I'm going to do a little change here. I'm just going to do this manually. I'm going to change the name from test to, what did I say? Internal-test. At internal-test / now I'll control save this. So now I'm going to do a GPM publish here. So the GPM publish is going to say, hey, what registry should I use? It's going to look up in those configuration files and say, hey, the package that I'm trying to publish is an at internal-test package. So that means I'm going to find the registry that is for the at internal-test package. Find that registry and do the publish command. The publish command knows that for a folder, it needs to just do a copy paste. I set that path to C-registry-test. So if I go here and I go, where's my computer? This PC. Let's go registry-test. I look, there's at internal test S 1.0, all this kind of stuff. If I go and I look at, let's go here, gpackage.io, we'll search for test again. Did I not delete it? I don't know why it's there. Oh, I bet it's cached real quick. So Control-Shift-R there. Sorry about that. Control-Shift-R, we didn't hit the cache. It's no longer on the public repo, but it is on the file system hosted repo. And if I did an install, the opposite side would work where I copy it and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to do it internal, you can put that on your network drive. That is the current only way to do the private repo thing. My comment with that is try to be a good community member. Any code that you can publish on the public repo, publish on the public repo. It helps us be a good open source community. I understand that in certain situations and whatnot, that is not always compatible. And do what you gotta do. It is also possible to not even use the default GPM registry, so you would never talk to the internet. You can just change your default to folder dash whatever. So if you're working somewhere like we work on the Air Force Base or we're on an air-gapped network, we could install all this stuff. We could change that default on all of our guys, and then we get all of the GPM niceties just in our own little sandbox world.
If I have something on the file system
Yes.
that I published, would it show up through the GUI interface in a search there?
It better. We're gonna test it right now. So let's go browse, and I go test. There it is right there. I'm so glad about that. So the thing is, the folder-based stuff was actually the first registry that I had, and that is what I had set up because GPM was built using GPM. Essentially, that was my bootstrap chunk to help me get going. And then once I actually got going and I built the registry server and this, that, and whatever, then I went and moved everything that was file system based onto the centralized one and this, that, and whatever. Was there another hand up that I missed? Oh.
Well, I was just gonna ask, so you said like try to publish everything public, which I also agree with, but what if you have maybe some functions, you kind of use them, they pretty much work, but you don't have unit tests or anything? Should you publish it public, but with warnings? Or
So, that is a great point. And that is where a lot of code that, you come to NI Week, you come to CLA Summit, somebody says like, here's my GitHub repo, whatever. And they always say, I still gotta do a little bit of work and blah, 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 blah. I 100% think that code should be published on GPM. And you should publish it with a version that starts with 0. And Semver, if you read the Semver spec, it says 0 is default or it means like beta / like it means something a little bit special. And some of the version filtering rules work a little bit differently when the first number is 0 to 100% support this sort of thing. And the reason I say you should publish it is because you give it out, you put a 0 on there, we all know what game we're playing, okay? I'm gonna use this code, maybe it does 90% of it, but it's got this mega bug, but I just go and fix that mega bug. Now I forked your repo, I fixed the mega bug, I submitted the merge request or pull request or whatever stuff you're using. The author of that can then, oh sweet, somebody did that, or somebody fixed this, boom, 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 now they can publish version 1.0. So it definitely gets us as a community working together best we can, and it lowers the bar to entry, right? Like, I will tell you, if you look at the GPM thing, there's a lot of my stuff that starts with 0. And it works great for what I'm using it for. Here, let's just see what MGI got published. Teams, MGI. It's a little awkward to browse to. It doesn't. I thought I had the version numbers listed here too. There's a lot of these that are 0 because they work for what I use them for, and I honestly don't do as good of a job as I need to in unit testing and all this kind of stuff. It's still up there. I would love your help, and you should feel the same when you're publishing your code. I feel like the LabVIEW, part of the reason why I don't like the LabVIEW Tools Network is because the bar is so high to get something on there. And it's so high that it's kind of screwing over the community a little, or it's making it hard for us as a community to work together as a community. Whereas this essentially goes all the way on the other side where it's like, publish whatever you want. And I hope that that helps us grow as a community more. Yeah.
This is probably a dumb question, but so if I publish a package, I'm assuming that that package I publish, the repo lives in whatever, you know, whatever cloud I pick. Whether it's
Yeah,
Git or
yeah.
whatever. So then, what if later, like my Bitbucket account goes down and somebody picks that package? Like how does?
So when you do a publish, I'm zipping everything up and I'm sending that zip file to an Amazon S3 bucket, and that lives on the Amazon S3 bucket. And I don't ever hit your repo. So if you went and you hit delete, I still have a copy of the code that you published on my S3, and it's not going anywhere.
So really, you're centrally hosting everything.
I'm centrally hosting everything.
So in theory, if this grew, you have to grow your.
S3 is cheap. But G Central, which you guys all heard about this morning, is there to help open source stuff somewhat. So if you're stoked about GPM, you should let the G Central guys know, which I'm one of the G Central guys, but it's a little biased when I say it. So you should let the G Central guys know that you think that this is a really important tool for the community, and then things like paying for the S3 bucket hopefully fall under the G Central pocketbook instead of the MGI pocketbook. But to be honest, right now it's really cheap to host, so MGI is footing the bill. Okay, I think I'm out of time. Okay, awesome. Any quick notes? Yeah, main thing, man, if you want to help, reporting bugs is helpful, so report bugs. If you really want to help, fixing bugs is even more helpful. It's all open source, we can do all of our stuff. These are the folks that reported bugs. Steve Ball and Q both submitted merge requests that resulted in bug fixes, so a special thanks to them, and I encourage all of you to use the tool, report bugs, fix bugs, tell me what features you need, all that kind of stuff. That all happens through the issue tracker in GitLab. And that's about it. Cool. So I want your help for GPM, and I want you to publish packages. Let's do it.